Welcome to the SQE Success Channel. Here we make legal revision clear, concise, and exam ready. Whether you're preparing for SQE 1 or just brushing up on legal principles, you're in the right place. If you find this content helpful, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Question 4. A man is given a painting as a gift. He later agrees to sell the painting to a woman for £50. Before receiving payment, he learns it's worth £500 and attempts to back out of the sale. Question. What advice would you give the woman? A. There is a contract because there is executed consideration. B. There is a contract because sufficient consideration has been promised. C. There is no contract because the consideration is insufficient. D. There is no contract because adequate consideration has not been promised. E. There is no contract because the consideration promised is only executory. Step 1. Identify the key legal issue. Area of applicable law. Contract law. Nature of the initial gift and subsequent agreement. The initial act was a gift, a donation, which is generally not enforceable as a contract because it lacks consideration. Later, the man and woman agree on a sale for £50, which is a separate transaction. Key issues. Whether a binding contract exists between the man and the woman, whether consideration, something of value exchanged, is present and sufficient. Step 2. Formation of a contract. Legal principles. Offer and acceptance. For a contract, there must be an offer and acceptance. Consideration. There must be something of value exchanged to support the contract. Executory versus executed consideration. Consideration can be executed, done, or executory, promised to be done in future. A contract can still be valid if consideration is executory, provided it is sufficient. Step 3. Was there a valid contract? The woman offers to purchase the painting for £50. The man accepts this offer, implied or explicit. The question is whether this exchange constitutes consideration. Consideration here, the woman's promise to pay £50. The man's promise to transfer the painting. Sufficiency of consideration. The consideration, £50, is more than nominal, it's a real, tangible amount. The value of the painting, £500, compared to the consideration, £50, does not determine validity. As long as consideration is sufficient, the contract is binding. Step 4. Executory or executed consideration. The sale is not yet completed. The woman has agreed to buy, but payment has not been made, and the painting has not been transferred. Therefore, the consideration is executory, a promise to transfer or pay in the future. Important point. In UK law, executory consideration can support a valid contract if it is sufficient and not merely a pre-existing duty or a past consideration. Step 5. Can the man back out? The man is attempting to rescind the contract after learning the painting's worth, but this does not generally affect the validity of the contract if it was valid when formed. The fact that the consideration, £50, is less than the painting's worth does not invalidate the contract. This is a common feature of bargains and does not amount to consideration insufficiency. Conclusion. The key point is whether consideration was sufficient and whether the contract is valid. Since the woman promised to pay £50 for the painting, and the man agreed to sell it, there is a binding contract. The consideration, the promise to pay £50, is executory but still valid. The adequacy of consideration is not a requirement in UK law, only sufficiency. Options analysis. A. There is a contract because there is executed consideration. Incorrect. The consideration is not yet executed. The sale is pending, so consideration is executory. B. There is a contract because sufficient consideration has been promised. Correct. The woman promised to pay £50, which is sufficient consideration. The contract is valid. C. There is no contract because the consideration is insufficient. Incorrect. The consideration is sufficient. The issue of sufficiency does not arise here. D. There is no contract because adequate consideration has not been promised. Incorrect. Adequacy of consideration is not required, only sufficiency. E. There is no contract because the consideration promised is only executory. Incorrect. Executory consideration can support a binding contract in UK law. Summary. Final advice. The correct choice is B. There is a contract because sufficient consideration has been promised. Legal reasoning summary. The woman's promise to pay £50 constitutes valid, sufficient consideration, supporting the formation of a binding contract, regardless of the fact that the consideration is executory and the painting's actual worth is higher. The man cannot unilaterally rescind the contract based solely on the difference in value, unless there is evidence of misrepresentation or other factors not present here. Assessment of knowledge. Now that you have analysed the question and solution, it is important that you retain the learning points. You will now be given a couple of questions relating to contract law. Used phone sale. A man agreed to sell his old mobile phone to a neighbour for £10. The neighbour promised to pay the following week, and the man agreed to deliver the phone the same day. After discovering the phone was a rare collector's item worth £800, the man changed his mind and refused to hand it over. What is the legal position regarding this agreement? Answer options. A. There is no binding contract because the amount offered is disproportionately low. B. There is a binding contract because the neighbour's promise to pay constitutes sufficient consideration. C. There is no binding contract because neither party has performed their obligations yet. D. The contract is void due to mistake about the phone's market value. E. There is a binding contract only if the neighbour has already paid. Correct answer, B. Explanation. The neighbour's promise to pay £10 is executory consideration, which is sufficient in law, regardless of market value. The contract is valid. Selling a book to a friend. A woman offered to sell a used textbook to her classmate for £5. The classmate agreed, and they agreed she would bring the book to college the next day. That evening, the seller discovered the book's current edition is valued at £120 online. She then told the classmate she had changed her mind. What is the most accurate legal assessment? Answer options. A. No contract exists because the book's true value was unknown at the time. B. A contract exists because the classmate accepted the offer and promised to pay. C. There is no contract because £5 is not fair market value. D. A contract exists only if payment had already been made. E. No contract exists because the item was originally offered informally between friends. Correct answer, B. Explanation. The classmate's acceptance and promise to pay £5 is sufficient consideration. The adequacy of consideration is not required under UK law. A valid executory contract exists.